Priyanka.
The queen.
You're going to spill the chai with us.
That's right, I'm a queen.
So what are you doing right now, Priyanka?
I'm turning into a woman to look more beautiful than both of you. So nice try.
Just to let you know, that's not hard. We have seen your after shots. You very easily do that.
I'm getting ready for we have 3 shows in Calgary, and I'm just painting this face and hope that it lasts all day.
So how did you learn to do your face? Did you get sessions, tutorials? Did you just learn by yourself? How did this all come together?
So when I first started drag in Toronto, I had a lot of drag queen friends that would like look at my like face of what I thought was good drag and be like,
yeah,
you look like a box of Nesquik cereal and we need to fix this. So I would like take people's like, you know, tips and tricks, and they would like point things out, like put your eyebrows higher and put this there and blend this. And I would just like listen to everybody. Yeah. And I found that like listening to everybody and kind of like adding it on to your face is what made me so pretty.
So now you're getting ready for a show. What's going on right now?
So we're doing this Voss Events drag drive-in show, and they literally like rented out parking lots across Canada, and they set up these like giant Coachella stages. It's crazy. Like I come out and I'm just the one. Like everyone's like, wow! Like honking their horns, and I'm like, Calgary, you know. So where
the cowboys at?
So it's the top 3. So me, Scarlett Bobo, Rita Vega, and then Brooklyn Heights host the whole thing. And it's really cool being able to hang out with her because she's a celebrity.
I hate to break this to you, but you're a celebrity now too. Yeah, like
isn't that crazy? From being an intern at MTV Canada.
What's so funny is you kind of like. I will say this, like. We met a lot of interns when I was working at MTV Canada, and like you always had that it factor. And I think everybody knew you had that. You were somebody who was going to like stick around, but I had no idea the kind of twist that your career would take. So like, talk to us about that. How do you go from, interning in TV to being a TV host to all of a sudden being on like RuPaul's Drag Race and being this drag queen that's world known now?
It's honestly, like, even hearing you say it, I'm like, what the hell? I thought I was going to be doing what you two are doing. Like, tonight's the Emmys. Like, got to do my research. Hopefully a producer sends me, like, a research packet. Like, that's what I thought my life was going to be. And then I literally just, like, had a drag queen perform at one of my birthday parties when I was turning 26, so 3 years ago. And she was like, you should try drag. And I was like, you know what? I should try drag. Something came over me, and then, I loved, being around celebrities and going to concerts and like, being like this little gay boy that like worshiped Beyonce. I'm like, oh, you get to be Beyonce now. This is so fun.
Like, and then that's surprising that it's only 3 years. Like I know. How have you only been doing this for 3 years? Did you ever experiment with it like growing up or before 3 years ago?
Never. Like, honestly, if I was to ever put on a dress, my dad would probably kick my ass. So I was never going to. Like, I never wanted to wear a wig. I never, wanted to put on a dress just because, like, growing up, y'all get it. Like, boys don't wear dresses, right? And boys don't wear pink and all that stuff. So I never had any inkling. I knew that I liked to dance. I knew that I liked to perform, but I kind of had that outlet at YTV where I could, do some dancing and do some rapping and do some, like, fun stuff. And then when you put the wig and the lashes on, it's a whole new world. And I think the main thing is just like drag just like looks good on me. So I think that's why it just like clicked all together. Everyone's like, oh, this is what you need to be doing. Now it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So do you remember the first time you did it and that feeling of actually becoming a drag queen?
Okay, so
I need to know when the original
I know
time.
exactly.
What happened?
What happened? Okay, so what happened was this. So I did my research on like how to be a drag queen. I bought my first wig, like all this stuff, right? And I got home from YTV super early that day to paint my face and do my makeup and just be that. And then I looked so ugly, but I remember putting everything together, getting padded for the first time, tucking for the first time, and looking in the mirror, and I was like, baby, I am the one. No one could tell me nothing. And I walked down Church Street. I walked down Church Street, like, here for my open stage gig, you know? And like, I remember performing, the first song I ever did in drag was Freakum Dressed by Beyonce, of course.
Oh!
And I was just on stage, like flailing my arms around, like not really, because I'm such a different performer now, because, you know, you refine and stuff. But I just remember just feeling so electric. Like, it was all my friends came, right? Because they're so excited that their friends finally starting drag. And it was just wild. I'll never forget that feeling, because you kind of get addicted to that feeling, which is why I continue to do it. And now I'm doing it full time.
It's unbelievable. As you're like doing your contour, I'm second guessing my own. I'm like, did I put enough right now? But listen, I mean, you are the queen, Priyanka, now. I mean, you know, being on RuPaul's Drag Race is no small feat. I remember when I was hosting One Girl, Five Gays, it was a huge deal in America when we were in the time slot right after RuPaul's Drag Race, right? Like that was the big show in the States for that network. And then all of a sudden Canada has it. It's airing in the US. I mean, this is a really big deal that has put you front and center. And you mentioned before that growing up, you didn't want to do it because you were fearful of your father and what he would think. And being obviously South Asian and growing up a brown boy, how did that, tell me about like that interaction with your dad? Like, he obviously knows you do it now, right? So
yeah, it's definitely hard. It's definitely hard because like my dad is, I only like the best way to describe it is my dad is like the most supportive, but also still so like apprehensive about the whole thing. It's like, so some like, cause he gets it, cause he has people at his workplace being like, oh my God, you know, congratulations to your son. We're so proud, you know? So he's getting that reassurance because, you know, being brown, it's all about what other people think.
Other people think, yeah.
Because your family has to have so much pride. And even when like, you know, your son drops out of school, you don't tell anybody because we have to look like the perfect family. Right. Yeah. So it's like, I think my dad definitely is battling some of those demons where he's like, well, I want to be supportive, but his old school mentality, you could just see it like eating his brain. Like you just see it. Cause it's, even for my mom, like at first it was weird for her seeing me dress up in drag. She was like, oh, well, I hope that this is just a phase. But didn't tell me that. I found that out at the finale. She told the story. I was like, oh, thanks, Mom. I just think that it's just a lot for him to handle. But I will say this. And the thing that I learned about like parents and like in kids' relationship is that like we often as kids, we forget that our parents are human. Yeah. And we forget that they process things just the same way that we have to process things. So I'm just like, letting him like live his fantasy and figure it out for himself while I just sit here and look like this.
You know, but it's a statement of what you're trying to say too, because did your dad have any indication that you were gay? I mean, your mom is your big cheerleader, your family is, and it seems like your dad was a little bit on the outside who kind of just didn't know. So, but did he ever come to you and say, hey, let's chat?
Right? I'm like, can he just ask me? Is it so annoying?
Yeah, I know. So what, how did that happen?
You know what? I think that, so the reason why, I just don't think he thought about it because once again, growing up, if there was any big issue, they would just sweep it under the rug. So it's like, although, you know, I'm sure the thought crossed their mind 1,000 times, it was like, let's not even think about it because it's not, you know what I'm like, they just don't. It's a really weird
Wait, so thing. Did your dad find out you were gay and you do drag at the same time?
At the same time!
I know. I saw that.
Oh my God.
Like, how?
Is that so bad? Am I the worst son ever?
That's a lot for your dad to take, because, you know, I remember we've had some South Asian cast members on One Girl, Five Gays, and the difference of like having a South Asian parent or even a Muslim parent, or like there was all these different layers of having of coming out as a gay person to your parents, but especially to your father. But then on top of that, I feel like the drag is just not even like that. I mean, RuPaul's done such a great job at really making it more mainstream, but drag is just coming into mainstream. So that's like, I think, a whole other layer of lifestyle that your dad probably is not as aware of.
Yeah, okay, so that like, I think that for him, he's not sure if it's an identity or if it's a job. And I think my mom explained to him that it's just a job. It's just entertainment, because I do like also being Mark still, and I still identify as like a male. I think that's where it's weird for him, because he's like, okay, this like, I think the sad part is that I think part of it is he's hoping that it is just kind of a job thing. Because I think that what he's worried about is that it's going to become an identity, which isn't fair, because even if it was going to become an identity, it shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter. Yeah.
But I just think it's hard, because as you said, like, it's so mainstream, but the education is so like small on it. Like my mom just, is still getting educated on what like non-binary is and all that stuff. And she's the most, she knows it already. Right. But it's really weird. So I think for my dad, like, it's tough. You could tell it's tough.
But it's like good that we need more brown faces in this world talking about this. And that's why what you're doing is so important.
Yeah. You know what? I was kind of like, because obviously so the day after I won, it was like a big press day, which was so cool. I was like, oh my God, this is iconic. But everyone, wanted to like ask about my dad. And it was just like, Lord have mercy on my soul. And I wanted to have that big happy ending where I could say like, oh yeah, he came to the finale and everything is fine. But he didn't come because he had to work. But I think that it was more that he was uncomfortable. Like I don't actually think that it was like, because he would have been there if he could have been there,
So the name Priyanka, I understand that was your girlfriend. You told your dad Priyanka was your girlfriend. Is that my understanding? And that's where the name came from? And that he's never actually met Priyanka? Is this how it's working? Like, did he say, hey, I want to see your girlfriend? Like, how did you come up with that plan?
I know. I'm wild. I'm so wild. I literally was like, yeah. Like, I remember one time he asked me, he was like, so, like, any girls? I was like, yeah, I'm dating a girl named Priyanka. He's like, okay, cool. Like, one day I'll meet her.
And then you sent him this picture.
Thinking? I literally was like, look at us at our wedding. Isn't that so bad? My dad.
I think it's hilarious. So why the name Priyanka? Did you did you want, is it like Priyanka Chopra, or what were you like?
Yeah. So this is my plan all along. I was like, you know what? People already know the name Priyanka because Priyanka Chopra, and it's a South Asian name, and she's already on Quantico, so some white people know exactly who she is. So let me take that name that's already kind of mainstream and then put it into drag so it's digestible for the Toronto audiences, but also so that like the brown people that come out to the gay bars can be like, oh, there's a brown girl that's going to be on stage and she can be successful. So that's why I ultimately chose the name Priyanka, because of Priyanka Chopra.
Have you connected with Priyanka? That? Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. That's a way better question. Go for that.
What's the question?
Like, have you connected with Priyanka Chopra? Listen and say, I'm your sister. Like, have you had a chance to talk to her? Anything?
Okay. So let me tell you some tea.
Spill the chai.
Spill the chai. So what happened was that it was actually, I heard from her like when I first kind of started drag, like a while ago. And the message was, it was from her people. They made me sign an NDA. So I'm breaking it right now, but who cares? Like, we work in TV. Everyone breaks the NDA. Like, what's off the record anyways? And basically she wanted to hire me to perform at some after party she was going to be at.
Ooh.
Wow.
So Priyanka knows that I exist. But since the show and all the mainstream blow up, she has not reached out, which I'm pretty pissed about. What a bitch.
She will. You know what? She knows you're busy, so she will. But like, what?
She knows I'm busy. She knows I'm busy.
Yeah, you are very. Can we just say we tried to book you like 2 months ago, and it was very hard to book you. You were in very high demand. But let's talk about the other brown people. You mentioned like other South Asian people that you meet out at like in the evening and stuff like that. Yeah. What has been the reaction to you and like to you winning, RuPaul's Drag Race Canada, to Queen Priyanka? What has been the reaction from the South Asian community?
people can't believe it. Like, people just, like, honestly, like, the fact that I was, like, I checked all the boxes on Drag Race. Like, I was a narrator, and I was good looking at a drag, but I was also a great drag queen. And then I won. Like, people are like, the South Asian community is like, oh my God, like, this is just reassurance that, like, we can do it too. And, like, you should see them. Like, you should see them at my shows. Like, it's like I'm God. Like, last night, they got so rowdy, they almost got kicked out. Like, security was like, excuse me, calm down. They're like,
all the brown people?
All the brown people. I was like, I don't know, they were like, live it. And I was like, you know what? Like, I just love how excited they are, because that's how it should be, you know? Like, I think that Drag Race in particular, it suffers from a very racist fandom where only, like, the white queens are worshipped and they have the biggest followings and all that stuff. I'm sure you see it all the time. And it's one of those things where now, being a brown person, like, I'm up to par with the white girls. And I think that's why the South Asian community is like, oh, like, it's the same. We're the same. It doesn't matter what your skin color is, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love that you've also, like, really included some of that South Asian, like, the culture, the fashion, like, you've included all of that in the Queen Priyanka pantheon. You know, if you look through like your Instagram account, there's a lot of, like, South Asian inspired fashion and stuff on there.
Yeah, that's the thing I was most excited for, because growing up, I was so nervous to bring, like, curry to school because I didn't want to stink up the whole classroom. And, you know, you'd be listening to Kuch Kuch Hote Hai on your, like, headphones. And, like, what are you listening to? You're like, oh, like, Destiny's Child. So now, like, especially for my like, mix on this. So the tour I'm doing now is, like, it's a humongous tour. It's like, it's the tour that goes over to Thailand and Bangkok. Like, like, in the regular world, it's like, it's the same production company that does those giant tours are doing this one. So I'm coming out and doing a Bollywood song, and I'm, like, the first queen to do a Bollywood song in their set on this tour. So, like, and the audience, like, the minute they hear the first beat, they're just like, holy shit, this is
what song?
Dread.
Can you tell us what song?
No, it's a surprise.
No, tell us.
I saw you perform to Silsila. And you killed it. I mean, you know how to, I mean, let's talk about your dancing, but also your fashion sense, that everything you wear, it's just incredible. Like, I'm just, like, in awe of the way you have become Priyanka, and the dance, like, who taught you how to dance like that? Me and AJ can't dance like that.
Indian dancing? Was Priyanka Indian dancing? Okay, yeah, tell us. Give us the secrets.
I love dancing so much. Well, like, growing up West Indian, we were always dancing at someone's wedding, you know? Like, someone was always getting fucking married. Jesus. And I think it was, like, that's how I kind of, like, started to learn how to dance. And then now that I'm, like, performing a lot, I'll get someone to, like, you know, choreograph. Like, there's a really great Bollywood choreographer in Toronto named Ria, and she just is the one. But Bollywood dancing's harder than it looks. Oh my God.
That's not easy. And you got the hips going, all of it.
All of it, honey. You know, I love it so
all
much.
of it.
I love that you guys just know everything. This is so cool.
You know, with the response, the fact that you're traveling around the world too, and us having these discussions about the South Asian community, talking about taboos, talking about everything that's important to us, has there been a backlash to you? Has there been negative responses to you becoming Priyanka? Let's talk about that, because a lot of people need to learn from, spill it, because we need to learn from you so we can help our viewers as well.
Here's the thing. Let me tell you something. Is that being, you know, representation for people is very interesting, because, you know, we talk about, it's nice to see someone like us in the media, and it's nice that, you know, we can see that they can do it too. But here's the weird thing about people of color and the way that we've been raised, is that whenever we see another person of color thriving, we tend to get jealous and negative about them. That's a blanket statement. Not everyone is like that. But I've definitely witnessed some other brown people be like, how Indian is she? Right. You know, how brown is she? Her boy name is Mark. So is she, her parents are from Guyana. Is that India? No. It's like, this like, right? And it's like,
you're getting like the Kamala Harris treatment. Like people are like, is she really Indian? Like they're literally like you're getting the Kamala Harris treatment.
Yeah. And then like there was a character that I played on the show during one of the improv challenges that I landed in the bottom for. And this one guy wrote me and was like, no, he didn't write, he like tagged, he didn't tag me. He wrote on Instagram and then someone screenshot it and sent it to me. And it was basically like, oh, like Priyanka is cultural appropriating Black people with her character choice. And I was like, this sucks. Like it sucks because like you want to say something, but it's like you have to use it as like an educational thing where like you have to hear them, but then you play that game of like, do I want this person to educate me or do they just want to hate me? And that's fine because not everyone is going to be your fan, right? He's watching the show. Maybe he's rooting for somebody else, and because at the end of it is that like they know that I'm not trying to be racist, and they know that I am a brown person, but they just want to take it away because like they're not used to seeing the success in a colored person. It's a very weird mentality. People are fucked.
Yeah. So how do you not let it affect you?
It was, so when that one in particular happened, that was really hard on me because I felt like I couldn't stick up for myself. I talked to people to be like, what do I do? And they were like, this is the thing is that like, now that you're like on this level of fame, like you're going to get canceled every other week. You're going to say something offensive by accident, then you're going to apologize, or people are going to scroll back in your Instagram and screenshot it and say that you should have done this. So it's like, you really have to pick and choose your battles. And at the end of the day, like I'm not, doing blackface and I'm not saying racial slurs, and it's just not I'm educated enough to not do that stupid shit, especially growing up in Whitby around a bunch of white people who used to do that to me. So it's definitely tough because you want to be able to stick up for yourself. And when you can't stick up for yourself, it really messes with your head.
Wow.
But therapy helps too.
Therapy helps too.
Yeah, we are big advocates for therapy.
I love therapy. Do both of you go to therapy?
Yeah, and not to mention this show has just become kind of a therapy session for us.
I love it.
Has there been a lot of, like, and pardon my ignorance, but like, is there a big community of South Asian drag queens that I don't know about? I mean, does that exist? Do you have fellow sister drag queens who are South Asian?
Yeah, but they don't like live in Toronto. Like there's some that live in Toronto, but there's like performers in Chicago, like Masala Sapphire and Abhijit. But they're just like not like the mainstream yet, but there are a bunch of like articles with like South Asian drag queens to watch and stuff, which I think is really cool. I think they're just like, they're creeping up. I think the reason why I was able to cross over to the mainstream so easily is because I'm just that, like, I'm just the middle of it, where I'm just enough to educate people on, Hindu culture and West Indian culture, but I'm not too far where people still can't relate to me. Because I think that, there's that relatability. Is that the word?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To me, that like everyone can kind of see themselves in me, which I think is really cool to be that crossover, because then it'll make people more curious about going further into our amazing culture.
But you also won the Canadian edition. Do you think that had anything to do with it? Like just Canada being more knowledgeable about multiculturalism and all different races? And I mean, like, do you feel like you would have had that kind of visibility had it been the US edition?
I think that like that was the cool thing. And that's why I wore that dress that you just showed. It was like a red and white lenga. Is because like Canada is just so that, like, Canada is like so multicultural, so accepting. Like, obviously there's racism everywhere, but I feel like when I was watching the finale, and I was about to find out that I was going to win, I didn't know yet, and I saw myself turn the corner in that like gorgeous number, I was like, oh, this bitch said she is a colored girl and she's Canadian. And I was like, if I don't win this, I will be shocked. because it was that representing what Canada is, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah. Agreed.
Do you find now if there are maybe this are there young people contacting you to get advice on what they can do if they want to do drag or come out to be gay to their family? Like, how do you have those discussions? Like, it's tough. Like, what would your advice be, or has anyone connected with you about it?
Yeah, I actually get like a ton of messages from people being like, "Hey, do you know how I come out to my parents?" And I was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
I always encourage people to like find their like chosen family, because like the thing is about like having to come out to your parents and stuff is that even if they are accepting of it, it still doesn't settle right. Like, it still feels weird because like they just don't get it. You know, so I always say like, hey, make sure you have like a good group of friends around you that like you can kind of like rely on for that support that you think you're going to get from your family, because it's just different, you know? And I think that that's the most important part that people need to remember, that like they can't expect their families to give them this big hurrah coming out party. Like, that's the disconnect in a lot of queer kids, and it breaks their heart. I've had so many friends come out to their parents, and their parents are like, okay.
No, it's it's such disappointment in a time of like immense vulnerability. I also I would also encourage, if anyone is watching this, and I know we have a majority South Asian audience who is watching this and who does want to come out, the Trevor Project is a great resource for you. So definitely look into them and seek help in how to do that, because everyone's coming out experience is totally different, and it depends on their family and how they do it. And so it is a very it's a really important moment. And so, the Trevor Project, go check that out.
Yeah.
I remember when I was about to come up to my mom, and I was like so excited to tell her, because, you know, as you said, my mom is like a really big cheerleader. Yeah. But I remember I had one friend say like, but prepare that like she might not be okay with it. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way that she's not gonna be okay with this. But like having to mentally prepare for her to maybe just say like, get out of my face or something, like, it's very scary, because you feel like you're finally being able to be yourself, but then if someone that, you know, you look up to shuts you down, it could really, I've seen it break a lot of people, you know?
So how was it for you when you told your mom? What was the setting? What did you do? How did she respond?
So when I came out to my mom,
you're laughing. Oh my God.
I'm scared.
When I came out to my mom, she picked me up from the GO station, because I took the train down from Toronto, you know, to Whitby to come out to Mama. And I sat down. I was like, okay, all right, here we go. We're going to do this. All right, here we go. And I was like, hey, Mom. She's like, yeah. I'm like, so I think that, you know, you're like talking all like loud and scared. You don't know what to do. I was like, something. She's like, what? And I was like, I'm bi. I'm not bi, first of all. I don't know why I said that. It's a thing in my head.
halfway there.
And she was like, okay. And then I started to explain how I met this guy, and I had feelings for him. That's how I know that I'm attracted to men and all this stuff. And then she literally stopped me in the middle of it and was like, you don't have to explain yourself to anyone ever. So like, if someone expects you to like have to say like why you're gay, don't you ever. And I was like, wow. I'm like, I was like, you're like, as a mother, having to process that your child is gay and now they're out to you, but you're also still trying to like, you know, pat yourself on the back and just like, don't explain it, just be yourself. And then I'm sure afterwards she went inside at home and was like, okay, what does this all mean? What's gonna happen? You know, and she kept saying like, I did a lot of pride gigs with her, like at her workplace and stuff. They do like conference calls and shit, and a lot of what she says, she was like, I was just like hoping Mark wasn't gay, because I just didn't want him to be like bullied, like the way that gay people get treated. I didn't want that for my son. So I think it's just hard for a parent to like not only have to process the fact that their kids are gay, but also have to realize that their kid is not going to have an easy time in the world.
Yeah, that is very true. So are you dating? I mean, do you have time? Like, has your mom set you up with someone? Like,
Hold on a second. I am dating.
Is that chai? What's in there?
There should be vodka in that cup at this point. I am dating. You know what's really, really interesting is that like doing drag gave me a lot of boy confidence. I didn't have a lot of confidence before, even though I was on TV, even though I had a really cool job. It's just like the way that the gay community looks at brown people, like they didn't look past you. So it was really cool to kind of step into drag and have an outlet to put all my feminine energy and then totally feel settled as Mark. I was like, oh, this feels great, which then made it, really, really easier for me to meet boys and stuff. Because now,
so wait, are you dating like monog? Like, are you dating or are you like dating one person?
Wait, come back.
I'm dating one person right now.
Nice. Yay.
Okay, wait, do we know them?
No, they're not. It's not like somebody from the show. It's this boy that I met. I was at the patios are open at Cruise and Tangos, the Toronto gay bar. And I was there just having a drink out of drag. And then I just saw him and I was like, oh, but it was just the eyes. And then because the mask was on.
Oh, because of the mask.
Yeah. And I was like, ooh, baby. And then I was up, they have like a balcony thing that I was sitting on, and he was like down with his friends, and he kept like looking back, and I was like, trying to perch up on the wall, like, and then
like what? Like, wait, what were you perching? How were you perching?
I was like
to try that move.
And then and then the drag queen was on stage, and she was like, oh, and Priyanka is here. And then his name is Tyler. He rips his mask off and is like, oh, you're Priyanka? And I was like, oh, you're attracted to me even though you didn't know I was Priyanka? I'm into this. Because you don't want like a star fucker, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No one wants that.
No one wants that.
Unless it's
so
just
you met someone through COVID. Like that's really impressive. A lot of people need to learn from you. That really, really they do.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you.
I feel like this year I'm defying all the odds. I won.
Yeah.
Everyone's like 2020 is the worst year ever, and I was like, I won $100,000. I have a boyfriend. I am living.
Yeah. You found your calling. You're in your flow. Okay, so let's end this on a high note. So one makeup tip that you like recommend above all else. One thing you can't live without, or what is your one makeup tip right now that you can give all brown girls watching?
Yes. Okay. Listen, I'm so excited. Okay, it's two things I need to tell you about. So everyone talks about highlighting it and contouring, blah 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 blah. But it is so important that when you contour and you put your dark powder down to cut your cheek, just so you look like take like a good highlighter, like a Fenty Beauty highlighter, and just take your finger and just pat it. Ding 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 ding. It's gonna look like you got a syringe in your cheekbone. No one can tell you anything. Do you understand? Do you copy?
Is a syringe in your cheekbone a good thing?
Pardon?
No, it looks like
Is a syringe in your cheekbone?
Because it's a good thing. It's like when people get fillers, they just like the cheeks lift.
Okay.
Like this, girl.
So it'll get rid of my chubby cheeks if I do that?
So contour and then put the highlight. Highlighter.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, what's the second tip?
And then also, if you want like a more snatched nose,
I do.
You can take. I do. I can confirm that same.
Fix this.
If you take that same highlighter, and just kind of like do like a light dust of a line in the middle. When the light hits your face, it like brings your nose in.
Okay.
Y'all ain't ready. The selfies I'm gonna see after this of you two just.
You're like channeling.
I know makeup right now. I know.
Wait, can you give us like one drag race dirt that you can spill, like really spill the chai on for the first time here?
Okay, so in episode 9, with it was me, Jimbo, Rita, and Bobo. They didn't put it in the episode, but Jimbo and I in Untucked because I got too drunk and started. So that there's like, so if you watch the Untucked, he like said, "Your ugly ass paper ass dress. Like, what the fuck are you even wearing?" And I'm like, "Hold my shit, Rita." And I go and I fight him, but they cut away. But in the actual unedited scene, I go and I climb on top of him and we start tonguing each other like, ah.
You went from fighting to right away?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's
So
good tea. That is
I haven't
good
told
tea.
anybody that. So
Okay.
we just
That's
spilled
spicy
it. We just
tea
spilled
right
it.
there.
That is great
Spicy,
tea.
spicy. We thank you so much for joining
There was
us.
masala in that chai.
There was yeah.
That one. Tongue and all too, man. Dude.
Oh my God. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here. So much masala in our chai today. There is spice everywhere. We love it. And we're so proud of you, Queen Priyanka.
Yeah.
Keep representing.
We're so proud of you. We're just honored in what you're doing and just you're creating a path. You're one of the first. You're creating history. You are taking the world over and we're just in awe of you. So thank you for talking to us and talking to our audience. And I think you're going to make such a big difference to everybody. And you know what? Hold that highlighter up and say, "You are Priyanka. You are amazing. And we absolutely love you.
Say her name.
Say my name.
Yes. What's your name?
Priyanka.
Awesome. Thanks so much, babe.
That was so much fun.